Chapter 21. Tovano's gentle hand stirred Isabella from sleep.
Tovano, is everything okay?
She rolled over to see Aventil still asleep and visibly relaxed when she realized he was fine.
Oh, yes. Everything is well, your majesty.
The sorcerer whispered.
But Bok and I need to speak to you. In private, please.
Tovano's excitement and the mystery surrounding his behavior concerned Bach as much as it piqued his curiosity. They went downstairs and Isabella rubbed her eyes in protest of the already bright morning sun.
Your majesty, pardon the interruption. It's just, after what happened at the inn yesterday, Bok and I conducted an experiment, and it confirms my suspicions. Mr. Ormart here is a noble and has the acumen for high magic.
Nausea hit Bach in the stomach, just as it did when the wolves attacked. He began to hyperventilate and turned away so his friends could not see his panic. Tovano had just confirmed his suspicions and his dread. Only members of the noble class may be born with the ability to use high magic. When the nobles claimed they were born to rule, they offered this as proof. Such was the natural order of things. Or so Bach had always been taught. So if Bach could perform high magic, he must be a member of the noble class. It was a simple matter of connecting the dots. That also means I am not the son of Tana and Finn Omat of Sola Valley. But, but how can that be? I have my father's green eyes and my mother's affinity for baking bread. Yata even remembers the day I was born. She calls it the saddest day of her childhood. She was used to getting all of mother and father's attention, and when I came along, she had to share. Isabella furrowed her eyebrows.
Why would you declare such a thing, Tovano? You have upset Bok.
Although groggy a moment earlier, Tovano's proclamation provided a bucket of ice water to her face.
Surely, in your decades of study, you must have encountered some other explanation for what Bok did. I know this is a shock, but I am quite certain.
Tovano tapped his finger against a tabletop.
He displayed some remarkable acumen just now.
Isabella shook her head forcefully.
No, Tovano. What happened last night was an act of desperation. Bok's life and those of his friends were in danger. He had reached out with folk magic abilities that somehow simulated an effect resembling high magic. But a lost noble? That is a huge conclusion to spring on our friend.
Tovano looked into Isabella's rapidly blinking eyes.
Perhaps if last night was the only evidence. But just this morning, Bok reproduced the push-pull spell, this time under no duress, and with great effect. I dare say he did almost as well as you did the first time you tried, and a fair bit better than me. There can be no other answer. Bok Ormart is of noble birth.
Isabella went quiet and looked away. Bach slumped into a chair, unable to stand. My parents lied to me my entire life. Were they secretly noble class too? No. Why would they work such hard lives as a blacksmith and a farmer? How did I come to live with them? Do I have another family out there? Does Yata know the truth, or was she lied to as well? Too many questions. I wish I could run away, go back to home to Sola Valley, and forget I ever heard of sorcerers or blights or high magic. Tovano gave no indication he noticed Bach's distress.
Don't take my word for it, your highness. Bok, could you please give the princess a demonstration?
Bach felt like a show pony paraded around for the lords and ladies at one of the royal palace's fancy equestrian events. The last thing he wanted to do was attempt another spell, after what the last one had brought him, but he would cooperate. Okay. Do you want me to animate something again?
No. Let's try something different.
Tovano whispered some words into his ear.
Just a simple pyromancy spell, Your Majesty. Although I would advise stepping back.
Bach nodded and licked his lips, then shook out his hands and jogged in place. At least focusing on the spell gave his jumbled mind a reprieve from sorting out all the conflicting emotions he was feeling. He repeated the words Tovano had given him and followed the directions to the letter, speaking the words in their proper cadence and performing the hand gestures exactly as Tovano had shown him. Bach could feel Isabella's eyes focused on his every movement. His tongue tripped and his fingers tangled. He pointed his hand forward, and nothing happened. I'm sorry. I thought I could do it. I should be relieved, but part of me is disappointed. Isabella bounced forward on the balls of her feet.
I told you so. Bach is who he seems to be, and that is plenty.
She patted his broad shoulder. Instead of comfort, pain stitched Bach's flesh where her hand had been. Does Isabella pity me for being a serving glass? Bach gritted his teeth and tried the spell again. At first, nothing happened. But then Bach's fingertips began to throb and burn, as though he had touched his family's wood-burning stove. He flicked his hand toward the kitchen, and a gout of eldritch fire shot forth from his fingers. The stream of flame struck a dish rag on the counter and set it on fire. Isabella gasped in what sounded like horror.
Oh dear,
Tovano mumbled.
Perhaps that wasn't the best choice of spells.
Isabella numbly waved her hands, and the fire soon smoldered and died, covered by an unseen blanket of magic. Bach's display dimmed her usual spark. Not so for Tovano, who practically skipped around the kitchen.
You see, he must be a noble. Such a man would be a powerful ally for the crown, Your Majesty. A young sorcerer like you, whose loyalties lay with the king alone, not the house of magic.
Tovano placed his hand on Bach's shoulder.
I'm sure we can arrange a proper title for you. The barony of Nardu is vacant, as the former baron died without an heir. You could fill that position and study sorcery with me in Ethanel. What do you say?
I don't know. I need to think. Bach's brain whirled, unable to process Tovano's offer. This would mean leaving my home. My family. But do I still have a place in Sola Valley, after what I have learned? So he turned to the princess, desperate for guidance. Isabella, what should I do? Isabella said nothing, but she didn't have to. The fact she couldn't even look at Bach said it all.